Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, October 25th. Well, the weather pattern has turned quite interesting for the next several days. There's lots of things going on, including right now there's a hurricane over the Caribbean that looks like it'll become a major hurricane as it heads towards the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Meanwhile, here in the U.S., we have a cold air mass that's starting to drop southward through south central Canada into the northern part of the U.S. That colder air mass will work its way all the way to the east coast by the weekend. There will be a couple of storms that will ride along the frontal system. First storm will throw some rain our way later Wednesday night into Thursday, and then there's a threat for a coastal storm along around Saturday. Different models are suggesting different things right now, and it's a little too early to call, but the potential exists for a coastal storm on Saturday in the midst of quite a cold air mass here in the northeastern part of the U.S. Let's take a look at the latest surface map. First of all, a weak frontal system came through the mid-Atlantic region last night with a few showers, nothing significant, and that's clearing the way for a nice day today here on Tuesday with plenty of sunshine and rather pleasant temperatures reaching basically the low to mid-60s in much of the mid-Atlantic region. Meanwhile, colder air is starting to settle into the middle part of the country and down into the Rockies. In fact, this colder air may bring the first significant snow of the season around Denver over the next 24 to 36 hours or so. This cold air mass will slowly work its way south and east across the country. A couple different low pressure areas will develop along it. One such low will give us some rain Wednesday night and Thursday, and then we'll have to watch for the possibility of a second storm, a coastal type storm, on the day Saturday. Well, here's the latest colorized IR satellite image. A couple things to focus on here in the tropics. First of all, this is a Hurricane Rina. It looks like it may develop into a major hurricane, Category 3 or higher, over the next 12 to 24 hours as it slowly moves towards the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula right about here, at which point it'll probably take a loop and curve back around, maybe towards Cuba or even just to the north of Cuba. We'll have to watch that. It'll weaken once it goes over land. But over the next 12 to 24 hours, this homegrown system that developed over the Caribbean looks like it may develop into a major hurricane as it heads towards the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico right here, and then it'll make a loop. Meanwhile, there's a second disturbed area of showers and thunderstorms here in the eastern Caribbean. This may develop into a named tropical system later on in this week, and again, it'll take a track towards the Florida Straits in basically a northwest direction. Not unusual this time of the year that we get these what I call homegrown systems that develop not in the eastern Atlantic but closer to home over the Caribbean or even the Gulf of Mexico. So both of these will have to be watched over the next few days. Well, let's now focus in on the possibilities for the second half of the week, because it is quite interesting here as we move towards the end of October. We'll first look through the GFS model, the U.S.-made global forecast system model for Thursday morning, Friday morning, and then Saturday morning. And then we'll take a quick look at the European model for the same potential coastal storm system on Saturday. First of all, this is Thursday. This blue line here represents really the advance of the cold air, and it's dropping slowly southeastward across the country. By Thursday morning, the cold front will be right around the mid-Atlantic region, and there will be a little bit of a low-pressure area with a few hours of steadier rain Wednesday night into Thursday, and then it'll turn chilly during the day on Thursday and behind this frontal passage on the day on Friday. In fact, let's jump ahead now to Friday. Here's the GFS map for Friday morning. All in the clear now, the colder air. You can see this blue line has dropped farther to the south and east, kind of separating the cold air to the north and west to the still mild air to the south and east. That has continued to drop now. Friday looks like a dry day in the colder air as this first wave has moved well off the coast by this time. It's off the New England coast at this time. So Friday looks like behind the first system. Now let's jump ahead, see what the GFS does for Saturday. Well, last night's run of the GFS actually does nothing for Saturday in the mid-Atlantic region. It has the low a little bit farther off the east coast than it did during the day yesterday. A couple of runs prior to this had much closer to the coast for this potential storm on Saturday. This is kind of an outlier model here. I'll show in a second here the European model, so it's too early to write this possibility off yet. But Right now, the latest run of the GFS overnight has the storm off the coast, not affecting the major cities in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday. However, here's the latest run of the European model, and this model has had the coastal storm quite a few runs now in a row, 3 runs in a row now, and this is the Saturday night forecast for the European model. Quite a significant storm just sitting right off the Mid-Atlantic coast come Saturday evening. So there's discrepancies going on between the models. GFS had the coastal storm for Saturday early yesterday. Last night it backed away from it. European model is sticking with it. I tend to favor the European model here, but we'll monitor the situation over the next few days. If in fact a coastal storm does happen, there will be enough cold air around that the possibility of snow mixing in exists in certainly some of the higher elevations, not too far away from the big cities of the Mid-Atlantic. So we'll monitor this over the next few days. A lot of activity going on. That's it for now. I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.